Alrighty, guys, how we doing? So, Thursday, bond market closed, stock market is open. Happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans out there. Thank you so much for. Hold on, I gotta look something up. Sorry. Happy Veterans Day, everyone. Thank you for your service if you are a veteran, and thank you for the freedom that you have given us. So, today, November 11th, a little bit nasty yesterday, right? A little bit nasty, but there was some good reasons for it. And I sort of was looking through the charts this morning, and I was using the volume profile. Some of you guys may use the volume profile, and it definitely showed why the move was so fast to the downside. And we actually talked about if we broke below a key level, there was not much support below that we needed to sort of gap down in a sense, and that's sort of what happened yesterday. So we'll definitely look at. Am I a veteran? No, I'm not. I am not a veteran. But we'll definitely look at why it moved lower. I definitely took a little bit of a hit in the chin yesterday. Took about I think I lost about $2,000 in my long-term portfolio, which has some options in it. So it was about 2.5-3% of my portfolio. So it hurts a little bit. But when you have when you don't put on too much risk in these situations, you can always come back. So today I'm looking to forget yesterday. I'm looking to forget the loss that I took, making sure that I see both sides of today and try to slowly grind higher. I'm not going to try to make it all back today. I'm not going to revenge trade and take some reckless positions because I lost some money yesterday. But yeah, in the nuts. But we'll be okay. When if you lost, I would never want to put myself in a position to lose a significant amount of money, in a single day, right? And that just comes down to over leveraging your portfolio or just having too much risk on the table, because these days will happen, right? These days will always happen in the stock market. You're just crazy to think that it's just going to move higher every day. So you need to make sure that you're managing a portfolio correctly, like we talked about yesterday, and something that we were talking about in the Discord this morning was how one of the members manages his portfolio as a business. So it's such an underrated thing that people don't think about, is really managing your portfolio as a business. Would you want to take a 40% loss on your business? On your business, would you want to see a 40% decrease in equity of your business? Probably not. So it's a good way to think about it. So we always need to prepare. I think a day like yesterday humbles a lot of people. It definitely humbled me to an extent because I was on a pretty nice streak. Was up about $10,000 in the beginning of November, and we've given back 20% of those profits. So definitely a humbling experience yesterday, but we have to move on. You can't just sit here and be down in the dumps because of a few red days. So we got to look at where the opportunities are, and that is what we will do today. That's a Lego. That's a Lego Porsche. I built it myself. I know, very, very talented person I am. But no, I have a weird. I don't know if you'd call it weird obsession, or I don't even know if you would call it an obsession. But I like Legos. I've liked Legos forever. I have a Lego Ferrari. But yeah, I like Legos, and that is, yes, a Lego Porsche in the back. So let's go ahead and get started today. Let's go ahead and look at first of all why the market fell. One of the reasons is obviously the inflation, the high number of inflation, but there were also some technical reasons why we moved lower as well. So we'll look at those, look at some positions, look at some stocks that we need to be looking at today, and just get an idea of what we need to be looking at. The sun, yeah, is it in sunlight? Yeah, maybe it might not be a bad idea, John. Appreciate that. I gotta close that blind more often. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, futures, as always, futures we might be on for a little bit, so we got to go quickly here because I want to talk through a few things here on the futures. Earnings calendar, I don't think we have much left of this week. Most of it was yesterday and Wednesday. Wednesday and Tuesday. So look at that. Affirm. Look at the move lower or move higher on Affirm. Insane move on Affirm. I did not expect to see Affirm move higher, but in hindsight, everything makes a lot of sense, right? It's so easy to say things in hindsight. I mean, when you see the numbers, when you see the partnerships that Affirm has, it's just so easy in hindsight, right? So a big move higher on Affirm definitely should be in play today if you guys are looking to trade. That should definitely have some momentum today. So Tesla, I mean, it was just a crazy day of volatility for Tesla yesterday. I mean, it moved up and down almost like 80 points intraday. And I think a lot of people got trapped. I think a lot of people that were very anxious to short sell this thing and move and buy puts on this got killed on that morning dip. So we dipped below 1,000. I'm going to assume a lot of people loaded up on either downside plays, shorts, puts, and that thing ripped right back up above 1,000 and pushed almost towards 1,100. So definitely, and then later in the day moved right back down to 1,000, and then now in the after hours in the pre-market is up near 1,100 again. So crazy volatility on Tesla. Should probably be in play today as well. I'll go ahead and show you guys what I'm looking at there. Upstart. Big move lower on Upstart earnings. Could be opportunity, may not be something I'll be watching, not something I'm going to rush into. Coinbase. Yeah, SoFi went up. We can look at SoFi, William. Coinbase. I think this pullback could be a potential opportunity, and this is something we'll talk about. Is Coinbase moving off its own fundamentals, or is Coinbase moving off of Bitcoin movement? So if you were to take it off Bitcoin movement, right, coin should be at all-time highs, technically. I mean, you saw Bitcoin dip a little after market yesterday, but if Coinbase is moving strictly off correlation with Bitcoin, then Coinbase should be higher. If it's maybe trading off its own company's fundamentals and their operating expenses and their operation, then maybe it should be where it is. But we'll look at Coinbase, look at what it's doing. CRM 20 SMA pullback. I like this opportunity. Thank you to Sierra for, if you're watching the live stream, thank you for pointing this out this morning. What else? Boeing, rejecting trend. So Boeing had a really nice morning yesterday and got rejected again off the downtrend. So we'll look at this. AMD, pull back to 142. And then Facebook, inverse head and shoulders. Looks decent on the daily chart. We'll go ahead and look at it. And then finally, we'll go over some of the members' plays that they want to look at. And we will wrap up the stream. So, and I'll add SoFi to that list because I wouldn't mind looking at SoFi actually because I think it will be an interesting one. Let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. Alrighty. Yeah, I saw YT, I see. Yeah, U's a good one to look at. Let me put SoFi on the list here. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, we can. I'll look at Roblox. I think I like that one too. I'll add that to the list. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, futures, guys. Let's go ahead and pull up. I'm looking at Riot right now. Let's go to NASDAQ. So we're seeing a little bit of a bounce this morning, right? Yesterday bounce. Yesterday late into after hours into the pre-market today. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you something here on the volume profile. And I'll show you something that we talked about yesterday, and that was this area on the chart. You guys remember talking about this area on the chart, right? You have this big area that we moved straight up. This was back on Wednesday, a straight up move with literally no stopping, just straight up, no movement or no consolidation, just from 16 to 16,120 in virtually 2 hours, right? So a big move and not much support. Now, we talked about this yesterday, and this is a good example. And I'm not, I don't care to talk to you guys about things that I fail to do because it's just human nature and it's real. I failed to realize that we were in that level, even though I talked about it all morning with you guys. I failed to realize that we were in that level intraday. I got a little bit of tunnel vision yesterday. And I failed to realize that we were in that gap area where there's no support, and that is why we moved so fast to the downside. It was literally what we talked about yesterday, and I didn't execute it myself, and that's just an oversight by myself, and that happens. It's going to happen. So really quick move to the downside. And all we really did was give back these ridiculous moves over the last week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had some ridiculous moves to the upside. And those moves, I don't mind seeing those be given back. I don't mind seeing ridiculous moves to the upside being given back. If I start to see strong structural points in the market start to lose, then that's a little bit different. But we've really only given back the ridiculous moves that we have seen last week, right? When Nvidia was going absolutely berserk, when we had the chip stocks going absolutely crazy, and the NASDAQ probably moving up because of that. That is what we have given up so far. So am I out here thinking that the market's about to crash? Absolutely not. Did we give back what we probably should have? Yes, I think that is what is going on here. So we've given back this move. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the volume profile, and it's going to it's sort of going to reiterate why this happened. So if I pull up the volume profile on Thinkorswim, if you guys are not familiar with this, what this does is it shows you the amount of volume that's trading at these levels, right? So what you guys will notice is this is a 30-minute chart, by the way. Yeah, a little lost in the sauce, I agree. So what you guys will notice is that you guys see this gap here, this large gap that we talked about. It's not technically a gap because there's candles there, but you can see that there's not much support in that area, not much structure in that area. And what you'll notice is if you look at the volume profile, it is also a very large area of very low volume. Very low volume in this area. You guys can see between 16,120 and 16,000. This whole area here has very little volume on the volume profile. And when you move into areas of low volume like that, there's not going to be much support. And what you'll notice is that we moved very fast through that level. Volume profile, things get a little uncertain. I get a little bit concerned. But if I can make sense of this move down, then I'm going to be all right. And what you'll notice is where did we find support? And we found support at this very large increased volume area, which is also right by this previous support around 15.9. 16 under 16K. So it makes sense, right? If we look at the volume profile, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm gonna keep an eye on this volume profile moving forward because it definitely gave us an idea of what would have happened yesterday. So interesting to look at. That's what I'm looking at today on the NASDAQ. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this volume profile off here for you guys to clean this up a little bit. And what you'll notice is where we bounced off of, right? So right here. That's a key level right here at 15.9. We bounced off that level. Definitely need to see that hold moving forward. 16,000 is the psychological level that I'm always going to keep on the charts here. And then finally, where we need to get back above, I would say is this 16,120. Now, the reason I say that, if I go a little bit shorter term here, you have a little bit of, maybe it's a little bit higher than that, but you have a little bit of resistance in this area. So I'm definitely going to have to watch some of these previous highs here. 16,100, 16,120, 16,140. So it's going to be a little bit tough to the upside through some of these resistance levels. Yesterday's highs will most definitely be tough. And then, of course, coming back to Tuesday's highs is going to be a little bit too much to ask for, I think. But we're on a little bit of a bounce. I'm not going to trust it 100%, right? You can't really trust this 100%. This could still be a lower high, and we could move back lower. When we start to make higher highs, that's when I feel a little bit better about this downside move. So until I start to see a higher high form here in this short-term downtrend over the last 2 days, then I'll feel a little bit better. So you have this little downtrend that's formed. It looks like you're maybe starting to test it here a little bit, but we need to see a push up, a higher high be formed, a change in direction of some sense so that we can look for the upside. So until I see that, I'm still going to be very careful here. Maybe some shorter term trades. Not going to open up many swing trades here. This is not really a time that I would feel comfortable opening up swing trades because you just don't quite know if this is bouncing, right? You could take your shot and say that, okay, this is a good bounce off 16, good bounce off 15.9. You could take your shot, but I want to see something to prove that to me a little bit more. When I opened my swing trades back in October, the reason I opened them was because of the downtrend breakout, the inverse head and shoulders, And I was confident that we were starting to make higher highs, higher lows, and the trend was starting to change. At this point, I'm still a little bit questionable whether that's going to happen. So until I see the higher highs come in, then I'm probably just going to look for some short-term stuff, and that's it. But I will say 15.9 was a good hold. We just sort of moved lower. We sort of gave up some of these big moves we saw last week, and we will just have to keep an eye on today, guys. If we continue to make lower highs, and if this thing breaks down below this level, then we're going to have to continue to look for downside here. So that's the NASDAQ. That is what I was watching yesterday, and that is what we need to watch today. S&P 500, a very similar bounce, gave up this humongous move, right? I'm just using the delete button, guys. I press on it, and I press delete. That's all I do. So yesterday, 46.25, you can see pretty much a perfect bounce off that level. The 46.50, it's nice to see us back above it because we could have easily bounced and rejected off of that. So it's nice to see that we are back above 46.50. Now today, we need to hold above 46.50, and we need to break this little downtrend that is forming, right? So you have this little downtrend that has formed over the last few days. When does a downtrend form? A downtrend forms when you have higher or lower highs and lower lows. So you have a lower high, 1, 2, potentially 3 lower highs, and you have lower lows, right? So lower lows, lower highs. That is a downtrend. So we shall see. We'll see if that holds up. We just need to keep an eye on this downtrend, see if it breaks. If it does not, then you probably need to still look for the downside. You need to see this downtrend break for me to feel a little bit more confident. Maybe if you create a higher low and then push through, that would be nice. If this is a low and a higher low, that would be a positive. But you need to get this breakthrough of this downtrend. So that's what I'd be watching on the ES, guys, breakthrough of the downtrend. And it's the same exact thing on the Dow, right? So you got your downtrend. You want to see a breakthrough. You were holding this previous support. You guys can see right here. See this previous support? Right there. Previous support. It was resistance. It turned into a double bottom. We broke through it. So today, if we do not get back above this level, then I could see something like this, right? You need to see a break back above this 36,075. If you get a break back above, then you have the chance of making a higher low, higher high, and you can break through the downtrend. But you need to see the break above this previous resistance that turned into support that will most definitely turn into resistance once again if we don't have the strength to get through. So that's what I would be watching on the Dow. Before we get into the stocks, I want to show you one thing that I saw yesterday that I should have taken action on and I did not. But it was pretty apparent when it happened. So here is the NASDAQ, right? This is how maybe you could catch the downside today. If you're trying to catch downside, here is where you can maybe try to find it today. So what you guys will see, this is the morning on the NASDAQ yesterday, right? So we got the big push higher yesterday. Nice move higher. It was definitely a little bit of a fake out, right? So nice move higher, pulled back. We pulled back again, a little bit of a dip, and then we tried to bounce back, right? Where did this bounce back come into? Now this bounce back came right back into previous support that turned into resistance, right? So you have this resistance from pre-market, you have this support here around 10:30, and then look at how it came back into it and turned it into resistance. This right here is your indicator that we are going to be weak, all right? This area, this right here, this point in the day yesterday was where if I was, a little bit more on my game yesterday, I should have taken a downside play. That right there gave it away. And I even pointed that out intraday to the Discord, to myself. I saw it. I said, okay, the NASDAQ is clearly making lower highs here. It's turning support into resistance. This does not look good. I didn't take a play on it. I should have, right? It's easy in hindsight. But it's very nice to see. That is what you want to be looking for potentially today if you want to play downside. Look for the push higher. Look for the fail. look for the retest. If I inverse this chart, guys, maybe sometimes it's hard for people to look at it the other way, but if I inverse this chart, which is just minus sign NQ, and we go to yesterday, it is right here. So this is the inverse of the NQ, and it's right here. This break and retest, which looks bullish, right? That's very bullish to see that. A resistance turns into support, and then boom, upside. But the sad fact of this is the inverse of the NASDAQ. So this is not the real chart. The real chart is the actual NASDAQ, and that is right there. So those are the things that you need to be looking for intraday on the NASDAQ or in any index. If you find those, you can somewhat tell where the market wants to head, and you can take plays off of it. So very nice. Very, very nice. That is exactly what I would be looking for. So that's the futures, guys. Hopefully that helps a little bit of education there on looking at charting on the futures. Hopefully it helps. If you did, why not give me a like, right? Just press the like button. Did you see that YouTube is taking away the dislike button? I think that's true. I saw someone posted it yesterday. So you can't dislike my videos anymore. The 2 people that always do, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to anymore. So press the like button for me. Let's go ahead and get started here. So earnings calendar, I don't even think we need to look at it. Let me see real quick. Is there anything that's... You had HUT 8 report this morning, which is a Bitcoin mining. Keep an eye on that. Celsius reported this morning. That's about it. I'll show it to you guys real quick, but I don't really see anything that really piques my interest here. Here we go. So you got Yeti, Wix, HUT 8, Celsius, Shift. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what any of these are. Blink charging probably. Tomorrow before open, AstraZeneca. Yeah. So nothing crazy. But I think what we'll look at is yesterday's earnings. Economic data, let me go ahead and check. I failed to look at that this morning. I think there's usually jobless claims on Thursdays. It's always Thursdays. Oh, no, it's because it's Veterans Day. There's nothing. Nothing today. Nothing today, economic data. Tomorrow, job openings at 10 a.m. That's it. So we get a jobless claims. Okay, so jobless claims were yesterday. That's right, because of the Thursday holiday, most likely. Usually jobless claims are every Thursday. I think they changed it because of the holiday. So no economic data today. Does that help us? I don't know. But let's go ahead and get started. So affirm. Let's look at affirm. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go to the daily. Why not? Here's a daily, guys. Obviously, in hindsight, it looks absolutely beautiful. You guys can see the pullback on the. This doesn't include the earnings move, right? So here's the pullback on the daily chart. What you guys will see: perfect pullback to previous resistance, turned it into support. Very nice. You guys can see perfect 50 SMA on the daily chart, which is also quite nice right here. And that was a very nice support hold at 130. Now, obviously, we go to earnings, and we can see, look at that recovery off that level. So huge move on affirm, and it's sort of just rejecting these highs, right? This 176 level, that's where we are rejecting right now. So am I a buyer of affirm right out of the gates? Absolutely not. I'd be a little bit concerned to see how this resistance holds up. I'd probably want to see it hold at least these highs around 165, 166. So right here, you guys can see 165, 166 area. If I break this down to the 15, you will see that we are trying to hold that level here in the morning. So here's the morning. You can see 165, 166. Nice hold. You're starting to hold here right now. So if you start to see us hold here at 166 this morning, start to consolidate, then start to test that 176 level, then maybe that would be a nice little move. So look for the consolidation here today at 166. That would be a nice hold. If it does not hold there, then I would probably be looking for the lows of these candles, which is right around this 161, 162. So Yeah, I wouldn't. Don't beat yourself. Don't beat yourself up about not playing earnings, guys. It's just it's a total crapshoot. You never know what's gonna happen. But if you did, congratulations. You should be up very nicely this morning. 165, 166 area. Would like to see that hold today. If it does, for that test of all-time high, that's what I would be watching. Tesla. So crazy day on Tesla. 4-hour chart. You guys can see. Big, this was the 20% drop that we saw. And you can see we held at 1,000. So you have this pullback, $1,000 level, and $1,000 here. And you can see that we held that 1,000 very nice. We're starting to push off of it. Now, if we break this down to some shorter term time frames, what we'll see is that that 1,000, once again, you can see held very, very nicely. And you can see this wick that came through it. I'm going to have to go down to like the 1 minute to actually show you this. Let me go to the 1 minute chart. So here is yesterday. And look at this. This definitely caught some people in a nice little trap here yesterday. So morning opened, right when the morning opened, really ugly downside on Tesla. Straight through 1,000, slipped right to 987, big move to the downside. Now, anyone that likes to chase in the morning, that likes to that panics in the morning, maybe panic bought some puts right here or started the short sell Tesla on this $1,000 break. Now what you can see is that was a very nasty bounce, a little bit of a bear trap, little washout long opportunity, and you can see a big move on Tesla. Now around the same time that the NASDAQ started to fail, Tesla started to fail as well. So you started to get this slip all day, and it started to accelerate as the market started to slip as well. Now, the market recovered late day, right? You started to get that bounce, and you can see this insane move back to the upside. I mean, almost right back. I mean, yeah, right back to all-time high, or not all-time highs, right back to high of day, intraday, over about a 75% or 75-point move over an hour time. So huge bounce and continuation here in the after hours. I'm going to assume this continuation has something to do with the news of Elon selling. I don't know if he sold less than expected, or I don't really know. It's very difficult to understand why this is truly moving up. If you guys understand it better, you may understand it better than me. I'm assuming it has to do with him selling his shares, which I think were less than expected, and maybe exercising his warrants that were like 2 million shares at $6, which is just awesome. I mean, that's incredible. So Elon was able to buy 2 million shares yesterday at $6, which is just crazy. But that has to do for some type of probably has to do with some type of this upside. So today, guys, what I would be looking for and what I'm going to be focusing on, I would like to see a dip to 1075. If I can see a dip to 1075, that would be nice. Yeah, Rivian out of the way, that could be another reason. So right here, 1075, if we get this dip, then I would, I understand it's a demand zone, Alec. I get it. That's why I draw them. If I get this pullback to 1075, that is what I'm be looking for. You guys can see this previous resistance here, and that would be a nice potential entry. Now, does it get down to that level? And it looks like it's starting to move higher right now. I don't know. I don't know if it actually does get down to that level. And if it doesn't, we're going to have to play this a little bit differently. But if it does, if you guys see this thing pull back, that would be a fantastic entry on Tesla today. So I'll definitely be looking for that 1075 pullback. And then also, you're just going to have to watch this pre-market high around 1120. 1120, that's where the resistance came in. And if we go to the hourly, actually, you know what? I think it's better on the 30-minute. Yes, here on the 30-minute, you guys can see on the 30-minute, the reason we're rejecting here in the pre-market is because there was resistance or support back here at 1120. So you can see this previous support here turns into resistance. Very, very nice. So that's why you're getting that resistance right there at 1120 this morning. So you need to see this break above 1120, try to hold up some previous levels. There is going to be some tough time, some tough areas above. 1140s look a little tough. You're definitely going to have some struggle here at the 1188s if we get into this area. And then you have this gap up here around 1216. So I wouldn't say it's going to be an easy ride for Tesla. I think there's going to be some resistance above. That's just me personally. I think there will be some resistance above around this 1120, 1140s. Definitely levels to keep an eye out for. But, it's bouncing off a nice level. Maybe some consolidation. Maybe some move higher. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But today, I would definitely watch it. Look to see if there's more momentum. Look for this 1120 break. If we get the pullback to 1175 today, that will be, I think, a fantastic entry right here. So, I'm sorry, 1075. So that's Tesla. Upstart. So big gap down on Upstart, right? Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So here's the 4-hour chart on Upstart. You guys remember we were charting this uptrend. That definitely did not hold, right? So that's totally invalidated. Let me zoom in here. Now, where we held is not, it's not the clearest level that I would say. You do have some previous support and previous resistance turning into support here around 230. You guys can see right in this area, 230. What I sort of found this to be was a little bit of a Fibonacci level. So if I go to the daily chart and I go and I pull the fibs from the start of this gap to the top, you can see this was where we held was basically right at the 61.8. Pretty damn close there. 61.8 is where we started to hold. If you take it from the bottom of that gap, which is like the start of the day before the big move higher, it's basically right at, if you give or take a few dollars, it's pretty close to that Fibonacci retracement. You guys can see right here, right? So here's the 61.8 retracement. That's where we held. We're finding a little bit of resistance at the 50% retracement. So it's interesting to see. The hold wasn't at like a key level that made me think, hey, this is a good buying opportunity. It's at pretty weak structure point in the market. So I'm definitely a little concerned. I'm not going to just buy this thing just because it's bouncing. I'll definitely keep an eye on it. So to the upside, you got resistance here around the 290s, I would say. And then you have resistance up here for sure around the 314. So those are two levels I'd watch, 290s and then 314 area. Those are the two levels that I'll be watching to the upside. Let's see if Upstart can continue. If you like to play gap fills, there is a gap here on the chart, and maybe it does try to fill that gap. I don't know. But, that is something to also keep an eye out for. Coinbase. So Coinbase is another one that pulled back on earnings, right? And I sort of alluded to this in the morning. Is Coinbase going to push higher because of Bitcoin, or is it going to push higher because of the companies, or move lower because of the company's fundamentals? That is a question that I don't know if I can answer. I think there's going to be some type of move correlated to Bitcoin, and if you see Bitcoin move higher, I think Coinbase should have some of that momentum as well. But I just don't quite know the exact amount of correlation it will have. So it definitely moved down because of earnings, but at the same time, there was Bitcoin moving through all-time highs as Coinbase reported earnings. So, I think that's why you started to see a little bit of a comeback yesterday. A little bit. You can see we bottomed here around 309, 310, bounced, pulled back a little yesterday, and we're holding up for the most part. And this is sort of a similar move to what we saw on Bitcoin. Last night, you got a little pullback on Bitcoin. It's been holding up now. So you're getting a little bit of a hold here on Coinbase. You're getting a little bit of an uptrend starting to form here. That's something that you could watch. If this uptrend does hold, then that could be a nice, sort of grind higher back to the upside. But this resistance came in pretty clear why it came in. Look at where it rejected, 347, 348. It's a very clear rejection, right? So previous support turned into resistance. It's very clear to see that and very easy to chart out why that rejected there. So if we do push back higher, you're going to want to see a hold of this uptrend, and you're going to definitely need to see a hold and, a break through this, a retest, and a push higher. That's what I would be looking for. So, yeah, like if Bitcoin's, up to 80, 100,000, blah, whatever you guys may think Bitcoin's going to, I'm not in the game of forecasting where Bitcoin goes, then I think Coinbase should move higher as well. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Coinbase, see if there's an opportunity off this earnings move lower, watch this uptrend, watch that 347 level, and see if this thing can find some momentum. CRM, daily chart is where I'm sort of interested. So you guys can see CRM, what a move. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember if you were here in the chat or in watching my videos, but I took a CRM swing trade that I stopped out of, unfortunately, back during this pullback here in this consolidation back in early October. It held for the most part of this 268 level, but when it broke through on this red day right here, you guys can see this red day right here, when it broke through this wick, I took a loss, and I should not have, because you guys can see, look at the hold of the 20 SMA. So I failed to see that, but we can see right now this thing is pulling back to the 20 SMA. So does it hold that 20 SMA? That is something I'll be watching. We could also see a pullback maybe to some of these previous levels, maybe some of this consolidation around 293. That could be a nice little retest level. If it comes deeper, maybe back to these highs here. But I will definitely like to watch this 20 SMA here on CRM, guys. CRM has been a very, very strong stock. It has continued to move higher. This is the pullback we saw in October and September and October, right? This is your pullback. This is nothing for CRM. So CRM was very resilient during that time. And I like to see this little dip yesterday. This might create opportunity. So 20 SMA on CRM, I would keep an eye on it, guys. That is what I would be watching. Boeing. So Boeing just continues and continues and continues to reject off this downtrend. I mean, this is why I just can't get myself to trade it. Every time I see it moving, I just take it right off my charts, because every time it just proves to me why it can't go anywhere. You can see yesterday we actually had a really nice looking move that started to form. So here's the 1 minute chart yesterday, and you may think, hey, look at Boeing. Here we go. It's time for it to break through this trend. And look at this day. I mean, look at the end from 12 o'clock to close. That is the ugliest thing I've seen in quite a while. I mean, no hope. Just absolutely no hope here. Just red, 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 red. I bet you if I take off the 1 minute chart, this might be consistent red the whole day. Let me see. Look at that. Look at that 5 minute chart. Just how many green candles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 green candles in like 2 hours. So yeah, just nasty end of day on Boeing. And it's really all about this downtrend on the daily chart, guys, right here. That is why you're seeing this. So every time it gets above this trend, it just gets absolutely wrecked. And it's also the 100 SMA. I forgot to mention that. You guys can see 100 SMA right there. 100 SMA getting wrecked off that 100. So does Boeing move right back down to this? It's possible. Does it continue to get really tight in this range? And then it has to make a decision eventually, right? It's going to either have to break below 206 and really take a hit, or it's going to have to break above this 230, I think. So you're getting in a very tight range here on this downtrend. I think 230, I will not touch Boeing unless it goes over 230 here, right? You need to see this 230 break right here. So guys, if you're out there playing Boeing, I would be patient. If you see Boeing going up, just take a second and realize, hey, this might not be a good entry here. Like, let me give it some time, because Boeing just has continuously proved over the last year that it just gets killed every single time at this trend line. So I would rather trade with historic technical levels than just off of emotions and thoughts. So that's Boeing. AMD. So here's AMD, guys. 142 is a level that I am watching on AMD. I watched it yesterday. It did get through it yesterday, but it looks like we are reclaiming it this morning. So 142 is this level right here. That's this previous high, and you can see we're starting to reclaim it right here. So I'm definitely going to be watching AMD off of 142 today. Does it hold this 142? That is what I will be watching. So I would put that on your charts, guys. 142. We can look at this yesterday. It tried to hold through this yesterday, but ultimately failed when the market got really weak. So here's 142 before we got the really ugly market downside later in the day. You can see 142 in the morning right here. You can see 142 all right here for about an hour of consolidation. Eventually, yes, it did crack below, but what I like to see is that it's reclaiming it in the pre-market today. So reclaiming that pre-market 142, I would just need to see it hold this level today. You can probably give it to around 140, 180. That is what you want to see hold today on AMD. I'll quickly go over Nvidia because it's a very similar chart. Nvidia, nice little move here in the morning. Here's Nvidia, right? And Nvidia still looks great. There's a little bit of cracking in the foundation, like I talked about in the Discord this morning. It's similar with AMD. You know, I would have, if it was a perfect hold at 295, it would have been, you know, even cleaner. But there was a little bit of cracks here in the foundation. You can see a little bit of move lower, a little bit concerning to the downside. But for the most part, guys, this thing has continued to hold this level. Now, is this bullish? I would say that's pretty bullish, right? A hold here at this level should seem pretty bullish to me. Let me pull up. This might not be a bad time to pull up the volume profile, actually, and see if there's pretty much some pretty good support. And yeah, so you guys can see. I got to get all this in here. You guys can see there's a pretty decent amount of volume in this area, right? So yeah, I mean, you could call it head and shoulders, Stone. I agree. A little bit of a head and shoulders potentially. That could definitely occur. If we move that back up to maybe this area, you sort of push back up, reject again, then you could probably see a head and shoulders form. I could definitely see that. But there's definitely some level in this area, definitely some support in this area. But, you know, basically right here at 295, you start to get a hold. So I would watch, you know, I would watch this consolidation. Maybe you get another move. You know, I'm not saying it will for sure, but maybe you get another move here off this consolidation. You know, and this 295 hold. I would just watch for resistance, definitely up here. If you start seeing this thing through 315, that's going to probably be some pretty heavy resistance. So that's Nvidia and AMD. Let's go ahead and get into Facebook. So Facebook, a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on Facebook. What's Tesla at? 1105. Man, is Tesla going up right now? Yeah, a little bit. Oh, go back to active trader. So Facebook, if I go to the daily chart, you can sort of see this inverse head and shoulder that's forming. Now, I'm still looking to see if Facebook holds this 325. You guys can see this little hold right here, right here. I unloaded most of my Facebook. I'm still holding some of it. You know, I'm still slightly green on my main Facebook position. This is what really kicked me in the balls yesterday, right? Facebook, really ugly day. I continue to be bullish on this position. I know it's ugly right now, but I'm going to try to ignore some of this, you know, consolidation for the most part. You know, this is not anything that's really terribly scary. If I start to see this, you know, if this was down here, then guys, obviously I would just be a fool for holding this. But you know, I sort of like the inverse head and shoulder that's potentially flagging. 325 has been very strong support in the past, and we bounced off of it yesterday. So I have to give it the technical level. I have to. If I don't give it the technical level, then I'm just getting a little bit too emotional here. I need to give it this technical level. You guys can see right here. So right here, 326, 325. I think I need to give it this level. You have here, you have this consolidation here, here. You have a bounce off of it here, consolidation here. So I need to see, you know, I want to see it, you know, hold this level here. You can see we definitely got it yesterday. So I'm going to stay patient here. I'm going to see if Facebook does hold this 326. It definitely looks like an area that we could hold on this hourly chart. So we'll see what happens. But Facebook, if I go to the daily, I definitely see the starting of an inverse head and shoulders, which I do like to see. You can see if I delete all these little circles. Let me delete all that. Clean this up a little bit. You can see an inverse head and shoulders. Actually, you know what? Let's just go to minus FB and you will see what I'm talking about. So would you call this a head and shoulders formation, right? Is that something you would call a head and shoulders, right? Left shoulder, head, potential right shoulder. Would you be bearish on this chart right here, right? Would you be bearish on this chart? If you were to push back into this, which we did, would you think that this is a head and shoulders formation that maybe moves to the downside? If you say yes to that, that is why I still remain bullish on Facebook, because that would be considered an inverse head and shoulders. No, of course not, AA. AA, you've been talking about head and shoulders this entire live stream. I've seen you talk about it 10 times, and that's not one for you. So inverse head and shoulders, I like that, and I want to see it hold. TA isn't real. All right, it's fine. All right, so that's Facebook. That's actually, we got through that pretty quickly. So that is what I had for you today. But we have members that we're going to look at some stuff. We have UPS, Square, affirms. So we did affirm, take that off. All right, so we got 5 here. We got, 6. We got UPS, Square, SoFi, Roblox, and QS. Here we go. So let's start UPS. If you guys could, press that like button. What are your thoughts on stock splits? No time of interested. Stock splits. I mean, just see if there's momentum post split. That's usually what happens. Sometimes you see momentum post split. All right, so yeah, I'll look at Netflix too if we get through this quickly because I like Netflix. That was actually going to be on my calendar. UPS actually a pretty nice little hold of this little gap area. You guys can see right here. Look at where this gap down started. We moved higher, filled this little area of 210. Nice hold there. So UPS could be the beginning of a hold, but I just need to see maybe a little bit more here. I would be very, very concerned of this very heavy level in the 214s on UPS. So this area here, 214, I would be concerned of an UPS. Whoever put this in the Google Docs, watch that 214, 215. What's Boeing doing? Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, nice spike. Square. Daily chart. Square's just it's not doing it. What's the news? Boeing said near sale up to 800. Okay, so it's some Boeing sales. Square is just not holding this level, guys. So I'm not going to be someone that's watching Square here. It just needs to find some kind of momentum. It's just not finding it, guys. So until you see something here, don't buy Square on 5 red candles. Wait for some type of bounce. 224 could hold, but you need to have it confirm that hold. U was a nice move yesterday. I'm just a little bit concerned of this all-time high level. It is slightly above it today in the morning. This is a pretty quick move. It's very past the 20 SMA, and it's not really something that I would be a buyer of. I would rather see this thing pull back to like maybe this retest level. You guys can see right here. That would be a nice little retest area for 160. That would be a nice little pullback. At that time, I bet you the 20 SMA catches up also. So you could be a nice momentum trade for sure if you want to day trade it. But for like a longer term play, I would need to see this give me some pullback here. Yeah, and YT, you said it did well in yesterday's market, which maybe it does well, maybe it even does even better. So Netflix, I still like this retest. It's not proving to me that it's holding yet or that it's bouncing off of it yet, but I definitely still like it. So you guys can see, if I go to the 4-hour chart, this was a previous resistance level that is turning into support. So I just need to see it start to actually move past here. Maybe a break over this level, engulf this price action, maybe a little retest, and then you can go ahead and play this to the upside. But right now, I would say it's a little early to take this play. I need to see a little bit more of upside continuation. SoFi, reported earnings, very nice move. We already did affirm. Daily chart on SoFi, we can see that on earnings, we are just right back into this resistance. So if I go to the 4-hour chart, 4-hour, let me get, more time on the chart here. So here you go, guys. This is the 4-hour chart. This is where SoFi is rejecting. So do you want to buy SoFi into this resistance? Me personally, no, I do not. I don't want to be a buyer in this resistance. I need to either see it hold above and consolidate for some time here, like a really good amount of time, and then play it, or I need to see it pull back and I can take a dip play, maybe back down to these previous levels here of 21, right? So right back to these previous highs. Maybe you get that pullback, you play it off that, and you try to get it through get it through those highs. But am I going to open up a position at open, while SoFi is trading in previous very heavy resistance? Probably not. Roblox. So Roblox got killed because it hit resistance. This could be what SoFi does. You guys can see, pushed higher, got above resistance, just really got sold off. Probably a lot of profit taking. But Roblox is definitely not done here, I don't think. So if we look at these previous levels, you can see 93. You guys can see, see where I have that on my chart, 93, 94. If I go to the 5-minute chart, 93, 94, look at how it respected that level. So if you say that, technical analysis isn't real, here's my example for why it is. So I'm going to show you right now. If we go to the 4-hour chart, if you guys look at this right here, you guys see this resistance that comes in right at 93.27, resistance, multiple day resistance, can't break through it, right? That's a level on the chart. Now, that exact level, I'll go ahead and show you where that exact level comes in, 93.27. Keep that in mind. 5-minute chart, 93.27. Look at how it turned that resistance into support. So, if you say that technical analysis isn't real, then you are sorely mistaken, because why would Roblox bounce off these levels twice? Why? Just because it's magic? No, it's not magic. It's because this was previous resistance, and you can see it is still respecting it. So, today, if it comes back down to it, watch for hold. If it pushes back up, watch this resistance up here. Roblox, the last one we're doing here is QS, and we're out of here. So, daily chart. QS, we talked about this one a little bit a while back, saying how you really can't lose on this, which was like back here in 20, because it just sort of flatlined. So, this 20 looks pretty solid. Nice little push higher. I would just sort of, look for the pullbacks on this way up. If you start to get, nice little pullbacks on the way higher, could be nice. You guys can see QS, a little bit of an uptrend. So just play this uptrend. T isn't real. Oh, God. QS, why are you here if TA isn't real? This is all I do. Why are you watching? I don't get it. So nice little hold here, 1, 2, and 3. Nice hold, uptrend, hold of this uptrend, and every single time it does it, it holds. So TA isn't real, but this uptrend holds, so I'm not sure why. Just magic, I think. So if you guys want to trade off this magic of this uptrend, that's what I would do, right? That's what I would do. Just look for the magical uptrend that has no relation to technical analysis, and then trade off of that. Sorry, buddy. You're going to have to be gonzo. See you later, Florida man. All right, so nice uptrend here. Nice hold. That's what I'd be watching on QS. All righty then. That is all that I have for you guys today. We had our daily ban from the channel. So, maybe we'll make that a daily occurrence. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully that helped you out. Overall today, I'll give my end of stream I do this every morning. I'll do the end of stream wrap up. I would say come in today very unbiased. Today is probably the biggest day to be unbiased, because you're getting a little bit of hope to the upside, and sometimes that little bit of hope may get you going a little bit, thinking that we're going to bounce, and this could be the day where you really get hurt if you're too biased to the upside. So be a little bit unbiased. Come in today with the technicals, and just be a little bit patient in the morning. That's what today I'm going to be very patient. Wait to see where this NASDAQ does. If it starts to break above some previous resistance, then maybe I'll look for some plays. But as of right now, I'm going to come in today very unbiased and just, really focus on the technicals today. Don't let emotions get in your head today. It's going to be a very emotional day, I think, for some, because some of you probably lost some money yesterday, including myself. Today, you wake up with a lot of emotions, wanting to make it back. You're going to find things that really aren't there. You're going to have your emotions make trades for you. Today is the worst day. The comeback after a pretty ugly day is probably the most emotional day. So do your best to stay out of that today. Make smart trades, even if you take the day off. That might not be a bad idea either. So hopefully you guys have a good day. Thank you again for being here. Press the like button. Let's get to like 600 maybe. 700. Subscribe if you're new. I do this every day, Monday through Friday, as long as the market is open, from 8 a.m. to around 9 a.m. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, but it is now clearly an hour long. I enjoy it, so I don't mind. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy this more than making videos. This is really fun. I wish I could just do live streams. But I don't know how YouTube likes live streams. I don't know if they would like, I mean, that's all really Meet Kevin does, right? All he does is live streams. But anyways, thank you guys again. Have a good day, and I hope to see you in the next one.